Hey guys, so I just want to talk about a movie. I think that it's been enough time. So let's talk about It Chapter 2. I feel this was a major disappointment to me. I really enjoyed the first one. The first one had, oh, the first in this little series. The first one had a very well told uh, let's slide past the horror part. I was never really scared during the first one, but I did feel it had a coming of age story that was perfect. Perfect. I mean, it almost out I think it did outdo Goonies for me. Goonies was the quintessential coming of age story for children, and I think that it just brought this realism to the coming of age, just people coming together and learning to grow up. I think Goonies was almost perfect that way. Um, I feel that this actually did better. It Chapter 1. It Chapter 2 had problems. Had a lot of problems. Most importantly, I feel they did things wrong. So, what do I mean by that? Okay, so in there, of course, Stanley commits suicide. But that is to bring them together. So that way they all work together. But they had this weird thing where it's like, oh, by the way, all of you forgot about the clown. All of you forgot about it. And they forgot basically about each other. So hold on. Then why, when a random number to them calls them, do they answer it and then go, taking away from their very busy lives, go to this place if they don't remember? It just that doesn't make sense. And then they get there and they're like, "Why didn't you tell us?" Oh, this and that. Why wasn't it just easily fixed by saying, "Hey, by the way," somebody calls up and he's like, "Hey, hey, what's going on? Hey, hey, Stanley's dead." Oh no, Stanley's dead. Yeah, we're holding his funeral. Oh, let's meet together and just kind of reminisce. Let's talk about it. So everybody gets together in memory of Stanley, and then you have at the end Stanley's little notes and say, "Oh, by the way, this is why I killed myself, to bring you guys together." That would have brought them together. That actually brings them into one location together because they were all afraid of going back because of it. And then you tell everybody, by the way, it's back. And then everybody's like, oh my God, I gotta go. I gotta skip town. That would have fixed a huge whole plot hole that just didn't make any sense. Then, why didn't they? First of all, the clown was killing random regular people. Before it would just go after the kids. Now all of a sudden, now he's killing regular people. Okay, why? Why did you do that? I understand if something was going on there, if we've seen him do that in the past, but he never did. Never did. So why do we do it now? Why all of a sudden do we start the movie with a kill that is obviously not a child? Doesn't make any sense. Then, of course, we had to get the stupid hallucination scene where, oh, look, the Indians, ancient Indians tried to do it, Native Americans tried to take them out and things like that. And you're like, oh, it gets tiresome. It feels more like a Stephen King novel. Stephen King writes a lot of kind of hokey fiction, fiction that it's like, okay, to explain this, you know what, we're gonna kind of go in the realm of hokiness and kind of where you just have to really expand your disbelief, broaden your horizons a little bit. And that's in most of his novels. That's the way it is. There's quite a bit of just where you go, you kind of roll your eyes and go, I'm gonna forget that. Just like in the novel, There's a giant turtle with the earth on its back that teaches, I'm not going to go into it, but things like that. But why did they do this? Why did they do certain things? It doesn't make any sense. They could have easily fixed so much that they didn't. There's a scene in there where Stephen King actually shows up and is selling a bike, selling the bike, Silver, which comes into a big play in the actual novel. In this movie, comes into play not so ever. It's pointless. It's absolutely the most pointless scene ever. But yet it's a pretty long little scene, and that to me feels like you could have taken that out and kind of made the movie a little bit more better and more cohesive. At a certain point in this movie, it literally just becomes flashback central. And that to me gets tiring. I'm not afraid of flashbacks. I understand a few flashbacks, but I'm not afraid of just a majority flashback movie. I don't feel that there's any weight behind, oh no, this character might die or might get attacked. Why did you do that? It just seems pointless. Take out the stupid scenes that don't progress the movie at all and keep in the scenes that are progressing the movie. You could have easily had scenes in there where, take out the flashback scenes completely, but then just had scenes in there where the horror is going on and it is getting more children, continually getting more children and killing more children, so that way it's getting more powerful, it's getting stronger for the showdown. You know, why aren't we seeing him preparing to kill the other people? Or start showing a little bit of Henry. Henry went through and was killing or stalking them. We literally get one scene of Henry and then boom, next scene of Henry, and then we see him at the end where he does nothing and dies. He literally attempts, he used to kill Mike. Mike was supposed to die, but Mike doesn't die. So now Henry's involvement in this movie is absolutely pointless because he doesn't affect them in any way. Now, if he not killing Mike is fine, completely fine. In fact, I was praising the movie for not killing Mike. But that character's involvement, instead of, the reason why they put him in there was literally because people were going to go, oh no, Mike's going to die. Because we already know the story. But hold on. A lot of people don't know the story. So what you needed to do was, when he doesn't kill Mike, you still needed his character's involvement in the story of him attacking have created some kind of emotional change for somebody, or affected the movie in some way in a positive or negative. Maybe creating someone to go away or run away and then be maybe attacked, or maybe make this happen or this. There's so many ways you could have done it, but his involvement should have affected the movie in some way. But now if you literally take out his whole scenes, the movie would still be the same movie. This movie has a lot of that. And I mean, yeah, some of the monsters are really and the ending, it still being a clown, was kind of, you're like, oh, okay. So we never really get to see the monster of it because people are afraid of clowns, so let's make a giant clown. And it has monster hands. Okay, cool. You saw the creature before it was while it was a human being, or like before it put on the makeup, which doesn't work for me. In fact, I was hoping when I saw the trailer that was Henry and Henry was just going nuts and had all the stuff on and was going yeah and stuff. I was hoping that was Henry, and Henry was crazy and stuff. That would have been cool to watch Henry just nuts, but no, it didn't. The movie seemed tame to me, extremely tame. The movie seemed like just a forgettable mess. It, it just seemed like a movie that you would see that comes on and you just go, oh, okay, that happened. Just move on with your life. Um, I can list off hundreds of movies that way. And I know that this movie is just going to go down as just a shoulder shrug. Meh. I say watched It Chapter 1 over and over again, all the time. But It Chapter 2, I mean, you had good performances. Great performances. I mean, even Jon Heder, whew, great. I mean, he almost outshined some of the other big heavy hitters because they gave him more to do. Because his character had more to do and more emotions. But I wish they would have established these characters instead of them breaking apart and being apart for so long. I wish they would have established them being more friends or regaining their friendship, which would have went right back into friendship. Friendship never dies. They never really regained all their friendship. Yes, they had a scene in there where they all sat down and ate, but them sitting there eating and talking isn't really them regaining their friendship. They didn't gain their bond again. And so it just, I've seen the movie 3 times in theaters because I was that disappointed. I was like, no, it can't be any way. Maybe it's just something that has to grow on me. But no, it never did. The movie never grew on me. All of the flaws, in fact, got even worse with multiple viewings. And I just feel like it was a rush job. I feel like the first one had passion. But the second one, just, I feel like they didn't know what they were doing. If that makes sense. They didn't know what they were doing in a storytelling aspect. And even the scares were less imaginative. You had imaginative scares in the first one, with even just the slight little scares in the first one. They had imagination. They had even the way it was set up, the build-ups were great. You had long little build-ups for each scare. But here, the only thing that even slightly remotely compared was the scene with under the bleachers, and they show that everywhere. Everywhere. And even the scene where they show with the old woman, they show that everywhere. In fact, it was almost a whole trailer. Those were the only scares that even remotely resembled the original, the first in the Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 series. So why did you, it's like they had a whole completely different writer. And somebody else wrote the whole movie, because if they would have got the first writer of the first movie, he would have prepared all the scares like that. But nothing was that way. Nothing was even remotely that way, except those 2 scenes, which there was only those 2 scenes that were even remotely interesting. I don't know. It was a failure when it comes to making a substantial horror movie, but I feel like it was way better than the original made-for-TV It movie, 2-parter It movie. But, I mean, it's good for a Stephen King adaptation. There's only a handful of good Stephen King adaptations, and this is on the higher end of that. So that's good, but at the same time, that just means it's forgettable. Is that so bad? I really wanted this little series to be amazing. the first little two-part series of Stephen King movies that are actually really good, instead of all we can ever get is just one really good Stephen King movie, ever. In the history of any Stephen King movies, you get like one little good gem, one little good gem, one little good gem. And I mean, you have 5 Stephen King movies that were based on of his stuff that literally are even remotely decent. Now the other ones I absolutely love for terrible movie nights. You know, we all sit down and we're like, okay, let's grab some sodas, grab this and then popcorn, let's watch some terrible Stephen King movies. But yeah, I don't know, I really feel that the movie missed its mark. I'm still really disappointed, really sad about it. I don't know. I think honestly we could fix the movie by like slight little rewrites. It doesn't even take a whole big rewrite to fix it. It's the slight little nuances where you just go, what? Oh, come on. Erase that. Pencil that in. Just tweak that. Would have fixed it. Yeah. Well, that's my review of It Chapter 2. I was really disappointed. And I gave it a lot of chances. I gave it a lot of my money. I took 4 people to go see the movie. So, me and a friend, me and a friend, me and a friend. 6 people. Well, no wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3. Oh, and I also took my brother and his son, so that was on this one. So, yeah, 4 people. I don't know why I forgot about it. So yeah, 4 people to go see this movie, including myself to go see it. So I've spent well over $100 to go see this movie over and over and over again and experience it 3 times. And so if this is not a biased opinion at all, I wanted to love this movie and I wanted to enjoy it and I wanted to get as much from it as possible. And I gave it a lot of my money in order to really understand why I'm so disappointed in this movie. So I am very passionate. I even have a Stephen King's Rules shirt, and that's not because of its, you know, a homage to Monster Squad. It's because I love Monster Squad, but at the same time I love horror, and I really respect Stephen King, and I really respect what he does. And I love the ideas he puts out. I just may be not like the way it's presented. His ideas are fantastic. The presentation doesn't always work for me, but the darkness behind the ideas are amazing. And I just wish, I wish they would go darker with some of these movies. I wish they would go the darkness. Go into the darkness. Don't stay so tame. Stop being so tame. This is almost 2020. This movie would have scared people in the 70s. But since then, we've had so much more darker films. It's not going to scare anybody. I mean, yeah, some jump scares will make people go, whoa. But that's it. But yeah, that's my review. I'm sorry I continued to go on. I just thought this was a good time to do this now that the movie's kind of out of theaters. I don't want to spoil movies for people. Thank you.